Good morning, everyone. Well, I was going to wait until they got done mowing the lawn and doing the other road work and cars going by, making lots of noise with loud mufflers. I decided I'm going to leave it in so you can see the difference between my quiet solitude and city life. Now, I'm not fully in the city yet, but it's sure noisy here. Now, I've had a couple of parks where they've decided to make lots of noise, but they only do it, occasionally. Mowing your front lawn or something like that, or that can be something that happens once a week. Now, the one park I went to in Carrollton, they got the leaf blowers out. As soon as the park was open, 7 or 8 a.m., whatever it was, whenever they opened the gate, the leaf blowers were out. It was a noisy place, but it was a city park. The park in Lithia Springs at the state park, a city park. And I only stayed there because it was close to my storage unit. I could swap things around. So the bottom line is, I prefer the solitude of the park I'm in and other parks that I've been to. Yeah, they're noisy too. The parks that I go to, even the current one is noisy, but it's wildlife. Frogs in the morning and in the evening, birds throughout the day. I enjoy it. Okay. Well, I had my doubts about doing this video. That's a pun, but we'll get to it in a second. We all have doubts. Doubting something is one of the first things that Satan used. He sowed the seeds of doubt with Eve. Are you sure God said that? Did he really mean that? They had spent their life with him, and Satan convinced her that she didn't really hear what she thought she heard. Now, maybe it had been a long time since they had the discussion of don't eat from that tree. That's possible. But God is consistent. And the consistency that should have been there would have been, Satan came up to me and told me that I should eat from this tree, that you didn't really mean what you said or didn't say what I thought you said. And Jesus, or God, I always want to refer to Jesus back then, because he was there. The Spirit of God was there. And God would have very politely, lovingly told her, what I meant was this. And Satan's lying, and he wants to destroy you. But she didn't do that. And she convinced Adam of this doubt. See, planting doubt is in essence the same, but in the opposite direction of planting seeds of the gospel. We're told to plant seeds. We're not told to stay around and wait for them to grow, to bloom. That's the Spirit's job to handle that. We're just to plant. And Satan's job of planting doubt does the same thing. It gets in the ground. If it's ripe soil for doubt, it will grow. I'm watching this person try to mow the lawn. Some people are just not good with equipment. You don't sit there, push the lawnmower, and be doing this type of thing all over the place. It's a relatively smooth lawn. It'll look okay, I guess, when they get done. But my comic relief. Okay. So the best way to deal with doubt is, as with everything that's a problem, If you're not sure, take it to Jesus. you'd be happy to explain it as many times as possible. I have people that tell me their name every time I see them. I don't live with them. I see them on occasion at various jobs that I used to do, and I couldn't remember their name. I don't remember a lot of people's names. I don't store names in my brain. At least the index is unusable for me. I'm sure everything I've thought and seen and done is there. Lawnmower's coming close. It's like a squirrel. I don't think can't be a lawn service. Not with a push mower. I don't know, there's two people with a push mower. I've got my microphone on, so I'm hoping that this isn't too noisy. I'm just totally distracted. I'm glad I don't have to deal with this all the time. All right. So, again, let's look at the Bible. Oh, I had somebody drop a comment in. Absolute comments are dangerous. To say somebody, you are always wrong. Well, if I agree with that statement, then my statement that I'm always wrong is wrong, because I'm not always wrong. Or it's right because I'm not always wrong. People like that are absolutes, I don't keep around. I love good constructive criticism. I love comments. But there are trolls out there whose only job in life is to go find somebody to attack. They're insecure, so they attack everybody. And I'm sure they get done with my site attacking and they go to another site and attack. I'm sure Satan rewards them well. Let's see how well it takes them in the future. All right, so we're going to turn to Matthew 21:21. Again, I hope you can hear this. And this is a red letter, so this is Jesus speaking. Assuredly, I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but also if you say to this mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, it will be removed and cast into the sea. It will be done. And whatever things you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. You need something, ask it in prayer. If I ever do get back into a house, which I'm not comfortable with, by the way, I'm not sleeping well. At night, it's too quiet and weird, I guess. I'm used to nature now. I've been doing it for a couple of years. I like it, that's why I do it. I'd have to come up with ways to bring the outside inside. Okay, now let's turn over to John 10:24. Again, Jesus speaking. I told you and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness to me. But you do not believe me, because you are not of my sheep, as I said to you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all. We can be very assured that God, through Jesus, will take care of us. We belong to God. God owns everything that we see. He's put Satan in charge of this earth to give us a choice. If you don't choose Satan, he can't bother you. If you choose Satan, he's free to do what he wants. Up to a point, obviously. He couldn't kill Job, but he could torment him. But God won't do that anymore. And God also has an agreement. As long as we stay close to him, he'll take care of us. If we tell God to leave us alone, don't help us, up to a point, he won't. Now, for his chosen, he will go the extra mile. He followed Jonah all the way through to the whale's mouth to save him, to get him to do what he was supposed to do. He followed him around and made sure he did it. But he won't do that with people that are not his. He'll provide a mechanism. He'll make sure you hear the gospel. He'll make sure that non-believers have that choice. But he won't go the extra mile for them. They're not his sheep. Now you become a sheep of God, he'll go the extra mile. There's no doubt about that. We have plenty of examples. And I'm going to turn to James, and then we'll go to the Old Testament. James chapter 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let the patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. If you're having trials and problems, don't doubt God. Thank God for whatever is going on in your life. Whatever is going on in your life, if it's something that God's involved in, you will be happy with it. If it's something that you've told God, leave me alone, I'll deal with it, there will become a point where you'll say, God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Get back in my life and help me. But he will let us learn. But he will also temper us to be strong. God has a perfect plan. And we can be as close to perfect on this earth as possible if we follow all of God's suggestions. The Bible uses the word commandment, and that's actually too strong of a word in the fact that that's not what was written. The connotation, the meaning is there. Yes, when God says something, what's the old commercial? When E.F. Hutton talks and everybody turns and listens. God's words have authority. They have power. They have experience. They have lifetime to tell us to listen. You could choose not to. The bottom line is, you want as close to perfect as life as you're going to get as a sinful human being on this planet, spend all your time with God. It won't be perfect. We can't be. The only perfect person on this earth is Jesus. The second closest would be Adam and Eve before the fall. And since the fall, everybody's been sinful. So don't think that you are the special one, the one that can beat the system, the one that is strong enough to fight the internal battles that we all deal with. You can't. There's no point in trying. Hand all your troubles to Jesus. The silence. I'm just going to soak it in for a little bit. Spoke too soon. Okay, we're going to go to Proverbs. And we're going to look at Proverbs 3:5. You can play Bible, what's the word? like throwing the dice. You can just set your Bible down, a new Bible. It doesn't work on an old Bible. Set it down and just open it up to a verse and start reading, and God will talk to you. But if you got an old Bible and you've got favorite chapters you like to read, you're going to set the Bible down and it's going to open up to your favorite chapters. And you're not going to learn new stuff. So it's a game you can play. And this is how I found this verse. Now we got noisy cars. I don't like it here. I should have got out earlier, but I slept in because I couldn't sleep because it was noisy. Okay. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. Cars and mowers. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones. These are promises of God. If you do this, this will be the reward. It's so simple, yet we can't do it because we have a sin nature. The advantage of Jesus and what he did for us is he allows us to get back up on the horse we just fell off of. Not tomorrow, not next week. You get down, as soon as you get up, dust yourself off and get right back on that horse. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're at. If you sin in church, give it to God, get back on that horse. Sin at home. Honor the Lord with your possessions, with all your first fruits of all your increase. If God helps you, then be helping others. We have a weed whacker now to go along with the mower. When I lived in a subdivision, which I will never do again, and I was the first president of the homeowners association, because we were the second people to move into the complex, and I was the only one stupid enough to take on the job. One of our things over the next year was to ban gas mowers and gas leaf blowers, and everything had to be, unfortunately we were at the age where everything was going electric. You didn't have to have a long cord, they had batteries. I had a battery mower. It didn't make any noise. The only noise you heard of any amount were the rocks when you hit them. And that one camp where they get out there with their leaf blowers, and there's 4 or 5 of them. Early in the morning. Yeah. Now granted, it's a big area and they probably couldn't, they'd have to have multiple batteries, but they could do it. And it's not like it's, they do it a couple of times a week, especially during the fall when the leaves are falling. They're quieting down, here comes a truck of some sort. Okay. So your barns will be filled with, we just talked about first fruits and the increase. So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord. Sometimes we do have to be taken to the woodshed, if you will. Nor detest his correction, for whom the Lord loves, he corrects. Just as a father, the son in whom he delights. Happy is the man who finds wisdom. Proverbs is a good place if you just want to open up and just read wisdom. Wisdom that we need. Solomon asked God for wisdom. and God gave it abundantly. It didn't make him a perfect person. It didn't make him right. It didn't help the generations after him. Read the book of Lamentations if you want to see a person who has everything yet has nothing. And I'm going to talk about some news headlines now. I normally talk about it in the beginning, but I want to see how many people actually will stay this long. I can tell how many people watch the videos because YouTube has a number. I can tell how long you watch. If it's a 30-minute video and you watch it for 15 minutes, that's the average. Now I know most people that watch it, and I appreciate you who do, watch from beginning to end. And the way the numbers work, if you watch 1 minute, 1 minute averages into 30, and it basically cuts the numbers in half if there's just 2 views. The more people watch it, the less that skews. So we got to get the people to watch it. We got to get more people. And a lot of it has to do with naming the titles on my videos. And I really don't like playing the game, but I guess I have to. I have to use catchy names, catchy titles. If I use the word rapture, or out of time, or he's coming to get us this weekend maybe, people will watch it. If I say, you have to follow the rules of God to have a good life, if that was a title, it seems like half the people wouldn't watch it. But that's the key to getting to the end. Staying with God. We're not supposed to be sitting around doing nothing. Do you think I guess they've taught too many people over the years that when you get to heaven, you're going to find a cloud and sit on it and play a harp, and that's what you're going to do for eternity. Boring. I don't know how Adam and Eve felt about their time on earth with God, but they had plenty to do. Their job was to take care of the land and take care of the animals. Now, many of them took care of themselves, but they still had to be there. The sun is coming up on my face. I don't think I need my light. It's bright. I don't know what time it is, but it's probably coming up on 8:30. I'm way late. I'm normally out here by 7:30. But I felt like sleeping in because I'm awake all night. It's different. It feels different. I don't like it. I don't remember the movies, but I've seen movies where they've had somebody like, they find a caveman or they find a mountain man that, has never seen society for a long time, and they bring him in. He doesn't do well. Next thing they know, he's packed up and run back to his home where they, quote, rescued him. Tarzan, a good example, I think, of a movie that he didn't adapt well to the city life. Well, I'm like that too. I can understand. Tonight's the last night that we're staying house sitting. Tomorrow we go back. Now, I'm ready to go back first thing in the morning, but I think Thomas will be reluctant to do that. He's still on Peru time. And he sleeps in a couple extra hours. That's when I get all my work done, normally in the morning. He's still sleeping. Along that line, he's not sure when he's going back because he has to raise money to go back. He has to cover his expenses. and he needs probably about $2,000 to cover his expenses for the time that he's there. He's not allowed to work there. And he has his fundraiser, and he gets money on his fundraiser while he's there. But most people think because he's here, he's not working in Peru. He still supports the church that's there. It's hard for him to find a permanent job here, knowing that he's only going to be here for a little while. He can find occasionally some place that will let him work a summer job or a part-time job. But most places don't want that. Because at most businesses, you've got to be trained to do their specific work. They're not going to invest the time if you're not going to be there. So if you can look to his GoFundMe site, even if you don't contribute, go look at it, please. He posts updates about what's going on in Peru with the church. They had Mother's Day and they had Father's Day events. He's going to pick up some, I'm going to contribute some money, then we're going to get some Bibles he's going to take back. They need to have multi-language Bibles. We have a parallel Bible, and we may read different versions. There may be I've got a Hebrew version and English next to it so we can see the difference. They need a Spanish-English Bible. They make them. I've been pricing them. It's going to be about $500. That's okay. People are going to be definitely blessed by what he's doing and what I'm doing to help down there. But the problem is that people are suffering here too. And so I understand when there's not a lot of money coming in. I have my Social Security and a very small pension. I can live on that. I'm not asking for money to live. I'm asking for money to do additional things. Sometimes some of this hardware breaks. I have to fix it. I have to maintain my car. There are licenses. I do have insurance and stuff like that. But I've got minimum because I can't afford anything more. I have to go to the dentist occasionally. That's not cheap, you know that. So look to the description down below and see if there's anything you can do. I have a Patreon account. The Patreon is the easiest thing you can do to support this ministry, and it doesn't take a lot. $5 a month from 10 people would be $50 if you know your math. 100 people. I've got 3,000 subscribers. Now, I have a few that have done some major contribution there, but if you're going to just contribute occasionally, use my PayPal account. It's easier to get money from because it can go directly in my bank immediately, whereas Patreon takes a few extra days to process. But it's good. You can set your account up on Patreon, and it'll take your money out $5 a month every month, and you don't have to worry about it. PayPal, you have to think about. I'm looking at putting a PayPal button on my videos, on my screen. So I'll be watching for that. But you don't have to donate, $500 there. You can donate $5 there too. $25 a month. It's not a lot. $5 a week. Whatever you decide you want to do, I would appreciate it. God would appreciate it. We're supposed to be tithing, and I know a lot of you don't go to church. I try to go to church when I can, but there's not always a church nearby that's operating. The church near where I'm at now says they meet once a week. We're talking about rural Georgia. So they have a once a week meeting. I have to go check it out, but I was very grateful when that one church joined us. And they were singing Southern songs, Southern gospel, country type songs in the church service. That was good. One guy with a guitar and a good voice. he should check out Nashville and see what he can do. But that's a hard business to break into, and that's another rabbit trail. Anyhow, the minimum I require for you as sustaining members is your prayers. Anything above that, it's icing on the cake. Spell my name right. Okay, until we meet in the clouds, next month is High Watch, the 9th of Av. I've had a request to talk about the Psalm 83 war. I can. It's a possibility of something coming up along with the Magog war. Amir Safati, when he talks about it, says that it already happened. Israel's been attacked before. They were attacked in 48 when the Muslims didn't like them having their state set up. They were attacked in 67 when they gained Jerusalem. They've been attacked in 72. Was it 2 years ago? Hamas launched all those 4,000 rockets. They're constantly being attacked. So what is the Psalm 83 war? It may have already happened, but it may be in the future. We're not sure. We're not sure about the Magog war. We do know that one of the wars at least is going to do enough damage to scatter the Jews out of Israel. That's pretty damaging. So it's got to be further along. It can't be up in the front. But we do know that they're going to basically corner them. They're going to corner this big bear in the corner and threaten to kill it. And the bear's going to have nothing to do with them. He's going to have one option to stop them. And you can be believing that they're going to be using nukes. And they've got more than one. So if they take out Damascus, which is a good possibility, Amman, Jordan, Edom, 3 places that we're told won't be inhabitable. Sounds like a nuke to me. And they will have nuclear weapons after that. So who is going to risk, what nation is going to risk their country? You drop a nuke on Jerusalem and you've pretty well wiped out the city. But if they retaliate with a nuke back to Mecca, you would wipe that out too. Nukes are basically best used as threats, not as actual weapons. But I think they're going to get backed into a corner, and they won't have to go to full war with everybody. You drop a nuke on a main city, it's going to get their attention. I see other things in the news. That submarine, they found the wreckage. It blew up, and it blew up a few days ago, maybe up to 10 days ago. The Navy came out and said they heard an explosion. They got their sonar on, or their receivers on all the time, and they heard it. So pray for those families involved. These were tourists. They went down there in this submarine to look at it. And there's been other tourist submarine trips down there. This was just one that something went wrong. And today, there's some kind of a coup going on in Russia. Russia uses civilian armies too, just like we have civilian armies, whether it's Blackwater or whatever. Russia has them too. And one of them says that their elite generals and military people are basically doing an end around and attacking and doing lots of destruction, and that's not what Putin sent them in there to do. So this organization is currently fighting, and they're well equipped. Now Putin says he's not going to allow them to do that, but if he knows they're right, he might let them go a certain distance before he tries to stop them. So keep an eye. Wars and rumors are worse. It's on all the time. But don't worry, it's just distraction. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.